Hello, light workers, you gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful people. Today I'm talking about various things, but I'm talking mainly about why when we're in the darkness there must always be light, and why when we're in the light there must always exist darkness. So I'll see you on the other side. So I was chatting with the emissaries the other day, and I'd just seen some stuff that people who are having tough times in our groups, and having tough times with the family or with the job or whatever. And I said to the emissaries, what about all these people who are suffering? What about them? Why are they suffering? Do they have to suffer so much? And they said, Gordon, look back on your life and look back at the moments when you suffered. And ask yourself, if you could go back, would you not experience that suffering? Would it help you not to experience it? And the truth of the matter is, no, it wouldn't. In fact, the moments of suffering in my life were the moments that changed me completely as a person, for the better. For the better. And I remember the experience, it basically, in the Bible it talks about dying to yourself, to your own self. And I think many philosophers and gurus talk about that, basically dying to your own self. And I think these acts of suffering is this act of dying. It's the ego dying, because the moments that I had that were the most extreme were when I was losing my identity. I was losing the belief in the person that I thought I was. I thought I was this and I thought I was that, and then I realized that I wasn't. And it's when you get taken down to that base level of, now look, who really are you? Who are you? I'm not my family. I'm not my wife. I'm not my job. I'm not my status. When all of that gets taken away from you and you're left just on your Todd, then you know who you are. And I had a very similar experience with the ayahuasca, when I was literally taken to nothing. And when you lose yourself, this death of the ego, it's such a liberating process, because you lose the attachments, because it's the attachments that weigh you down. At the moment people are losing their job. If you're very attached to your job, that's going to be devastating for you. But when you realize that your job does not define who you are, your job is not you, then you can start to realize, well, if my job is not me, who am I? So as the emissaries were saying, this is an ever so important step for the people who are waking up, and the people who are awake but need to lose attachments. They need to lose attachments and lose it isn't that the ego's bad, just the ego lies to us. The ego keeps us distracted, thinking, look at the job I've got, that means that. It means shit, the job you've got. It means nothing, it means you've got that job. It doesn't mean anything about you. You're so much more than a job. You're so much more than an income. Yeah. So that's kind of where they say that those people are, that they're going through the beautiful moment, which is dying to their own selves. Okay, and I've done that a number of times, and I'm sure that I'm going to be doing that again. And I welcome it. Welcome it. When adversity comes into your life, welcome it. It's a friend. It's a teacher. It's there to teach. So, other things. I was asking about there's a guy that I watch, he has a little beard, he's from Canada, I don't know his name, and he channels. And he used to channel like a one being, but now he just channels in general, channels spirit. And I was asking the emissaries, are you working with him? Yeah. And they said no. They said, but he is working with beings. And I said, so how many beings are working with us? And they said, you must understand that this moment in the history of mankind, and this particular moment, is so interesting that there's a clamor of beings who want to be involved, who want to help. And so they said there are more beings helping than there are human beings on Earth. Now, how about that? That's a lot. That's a lot. They said that this is absolutely, everybody wants to help. Every being wants to help because this is so important, what's happening. And it's so interesting as well. So never think that you're alone, that you're having to do this on your own. You're not. And you know what? All you need to do is ask. Remember the rule of free will of the earth. They cannot get involved unless you ask them to get involved. You must give them your permission. I mean, they're involved, but they can't get involved overtly with you unless you give them your permission. It's the same with your higher self. If you don't give your higher self permission, it's going to stick to the plan, okay, which was the plan that you made beforehand. If you need help, you ask for help. You sit down, you meditate, and you put your hands together and you ask for help. Ask it of the universe, ask it of your guides, your helpers, whatever. Ask for help. All right? They're just waiting like this. Literally like this. Come on, come on, come on. Ask me, ask me, ask me. Okay? So do it. Do it. And then the last thing I want to talk about is this, about lightness and darkness. So I heard somebody talking the other day about, yin and yang, and how there's always darkness where there's light and there's always light where there's darkness. So I was talking to the emissaries and I said, so when we get to this golden age fully and completely, when we're in the light completely, will there still be darkness? And they said, yes, absolutely there will. But they said what happens is when the light is so bright that the darkness, although it's there, isn't perceived, but it's there. And it always is there. It's kind of hidden away. Hidden away. They said they used the analogy of like having a little stone in your shoe. It's there. It's tiny, but it's there. And so I said, so when we get to the dark, the really dark part, of the cycle, I don't know whether it's 26,000 years, but in the dark bit, is the light there? And they said, yes, of course, the light's there. But of course it's not perceived because the darkness is so overwhelming. And then following on from the last thing that they were saying about the fact that there are more beings helping than there are on Earth, the light beings. So I said, so when we are entering into the period of darkness, are there dark beings that are there also wanting, clamoring to help the darkness to come in? And they said, yes. Yeah. They said they're there. Well, they said we are here to guide people, and they come to misguide people. But it's like this whole process of just going round, so light off to darkness, off to light, off to darkness. And I don't know how many times we've cycled round there, but many, given the amount of lives that we've lived so much of this going into light, going into darkness. I've had people in past life regressions from Lemuria and the other one, I can't remember its name, these civilizations that were lost. I had one gentleman who was crying his eyes out because he wasn't able to stop the darkness from coming in. And that's basically what happened, because the darkness had to come in. It had to come in. And so I said then, asked the question, why? Why, when there's light, there has to be darkness? And why, when there's darkness, there has to be light? And they said, it's for balance. It's the balance. It's the way that this whole game works. And they give me the analogy of an electric cable. Okay? They said, for electricity to move, there needs to be two cables. One that takes it in and one that takes it out. If there's only one cable and no earth, the electricity can't move. It's stagnant. And what they're saying is this universe is a universe of movement, of shifts, of change. And rather it was reminiscent of of the work that I do with trapped emotions, and that emotions are constantly on the move. They're not static things, but if we trap them inside of us, they start to eat us away. No, they've got to be released. They've got to be allowed to move. They've got to be allowed to set them free. You know? And it was kind of like that feel of darkness has to be there, because if darkness wasn't there, the light would stagnate. It would become poisoned or like stagnant water. You know, water must flow. And it's kind of that feel of it's to keep the flow of the universe going, positive and negative. It's got to be there. Yeah? So, the more that I do this, you know, the more that I talk to the emissaries about this process, and the more that I study it, the more I realize that this is just a game. This is a process that has been set up to allow us as beings to experience what it is to have all of those experiences. And it's almost like, you know, it's a game, and sometimes I would say a pretty cruel game for us, because we've forgotten. We're here and we're living it, and we've forgotten it. And I suppose it's a very beautiful game when we're in the light, and we come down and we don't know. We don't know what we've agreed to and all of that. We're just here experiencing it, and it's beautiful, and we're in paradise and in bliss, and that's very beautiful. And then we come down in the darkness, and we're thinking, oh my God, this is so bad. But everything we've agreed beforehand, we know it beforehand, but we choose to lose our memory. And on purpose. Because, you know, it's the story of playing Monopoly. When you play Monopoly, you've got to put yourself into the game. You've got to believe it's real. Otherwise it's no fun. If you're just playing going, well, but this isn't real. I don't know why there's no point. Why are you getting upset about it? It's not real. That wouldn't be fun. You know, when we play a game, we play it as though it's real. And it's the same with this life. We live it as though it's real. But the truth of the matter is it isn't. The truth of the matter is that this is just something that we've chosen to experience. And so if you can keep that in the back of your mind, but right at the back of your mind, that you chose this, that this is your choice, this is a game. It as they say in Spanish, no es para tanto. It isn't that bad. You know, it's not something that you need to get yourself worked up about. All right, it's tough, and when somebody's beating you over the head with a baton, you know, it's real. It's real. But in essence, it's something that we've chosen. And that it's going to get better. It's going to get better. We're going to have good times and bad times. We're going to experience the light. We're going to experience the darkness, because we've chosen to. So it makes it a lot easier when you realize that you have choice. Yeah? So there we are. Have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you on Monday. I love you all.